law, so they, as Corey has said it more, they really don't have anything to say about it. On top of that, Cox's have it, in their deeds, we've already went through this, the deeds for all of the transactions, either reserve or accept county roads, i.e. easements and things like that, so. Does that help answer your question, Frank?
Yeah, well, I mean, is the problem's more with the BLM, the way I'm taking it, than with us, isn't it?
They really have nothing to say about it.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that as we are in litigation, and at this point, that has to take precedent, that we end all further conversation
Yeah,
on the road.
yeah.
Okay,
You're probably right.
I'll appreciate that. I would appreciate if you go into your private session with your county attorney. Keep in mind that I don't want to litigate with the board, the county. I'm here because your county attorney has kind of forced the issue. I need some action, I need some resolve, and that's all I'm asking. I'm gonna go ahead and have the road surveyed this week. And hopefully, Laura, if I may ask, when is that meeting with Corey?
It'll be next Monday.
Okay. I will submit that survey to the board. And I will continue to attempt to contact your county attorney to get some resolve to settle this matter. But again, he told me he would talk to you guys on the 2nd of July, and it's the 17th now. And you can tell. Me and that guy are really button heads, so, and for good reason. But I appreciate your time, thank you.
Thanks. I have a couple of letters to discuss with you guys, and we also have an employee who would like to have a closed door with us today on a personnel issue. So, first one is the Montana Department of Transportation is applying for a build grant, and this is to help with the funding of the Toston Bridge structure, and they'd like a letter of support, which is what's in front of you now.
Is that from the Tiger Fund?
No, build, B-U-I-L-D, and what does that stand for? Basically, it's for safety corridors that are passing over either railroads, other highways, or bodies of water, which hits two of those. Right.
Did this come in a few weeks ago? Because I got an email, a support letter as well for that particular structure.
Could have been from
So-
Charity at Department of
I think
Transportation?
yes, I think
Yeah.
so. Okay. I haven't forgot, I just haven't got to it yet, so. Because I think they were talking about changing, there's an extra funding mechanism, I think. is what it was.
Right, right, yeah.
It's the same one.
It is, yep, I just did two. So we had one we could sign and one you guys could read. I did email this, but it was it was just minutes before the
Oh, okay.
meeting, so I didn't get it to you with enough leeway.
Can we entertain a motion to approve and sign a letter to the Secretary of Transportation for the Build Grant Missouri River Crossing Toston Structures?
So moved.
No second.
Motion made, second to approve and send letter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. You want two of these? Okay?
Yes, that'd be great. We can call them both originals and send them out. I lost my pen somewhere. right, the next one I have is also Department of Transportation. There you go, this one was emailed out. I think first thing this morning. It has been since edited slightly by Mary. Basically, this is regarding, the gentleman was wanting to be on the agenda today, and I told him we can't just throw him on the agenda. What this is a request of MDT, and what they would like us to do is just definitively say, yes, we support the Toston project, and we do not want any county roads abandoned through the process. So that's really the crux of the letter. We don't generally do a vote or write a letter that we are reaffirming a decision made, but they wanted this for clarity for their purposes. And I brought a map if you want to see what is in the letter for discussion's sake.
I would think that this goes to the point of the plans that we got, that dropped off last week, that's what the highway department's planning on doing, and that was basically what we agreed on to before.
Correct. 4 years ago, 6 to 9 months ago, yes.
So we wanna have a vote on this then.
I will so move.
Motion's been made to sign a letter to the Montana Department of Transportation in regard to the Toston Bridge construction project and Flynn Lane abandonment. Is there a second? I'll second. Motion's been made and seconded to set a letter to the Toston Bridge construction project and Flynn Lane abandonment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same.
No. You know, all we talked about all the time was the safety issues. We had the ranchers here talk about their semis and everything, and all of a sudden you say something about horse trailers can't pick up speed. I don't know what all you got in that letter there and stuff, but it's, I'm completely against your letter.
Motion carries.
Give you that too, Ann. Mike, this is something we've been through before, and something maybe for you to know, Daryl, starting in potentially November. But when there is a commission decision, even if it's 2-1, it is still a commission decision. All commissioners should sign letters,
Sign it, right?
contracts. It hasn't been the process of this particular commission, but you'll find that out potentially in training for newly elected officials.
Okay.
All right, I have one more. I have a whole slew of them. This one was also emailed out, and I think it was this weekend. I'm not sure. This is a memo that I would like to suggest that we send to Erin Foley at Teamsters. She said during our negotiations last week that she had received absolutely no communication whatsoever from the county. Well, if that's how she's gonna start a negotiating session when she has received, what, 12 emails? That kind of dishonesty is gonna set us on the wrong foot. And then in the middle of that negotiation, she also decided that it was important to lob some threats against the county. So this is just an email stating the facts. I tried to take emotion out of it. If you see anything that you don't want in there, I'm more than open to edits, but I would like to send this from the commission to Aaron Foley at Teamsters.
I would support it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And this is on the sheriff's,
Yeah. It also tells her that Wynn's gonna take responsibility for all future communications with her.
I already told her.
Perfect, we're gonna tell her again.
Cause I think you guys sent me a couple things. Thursday, was it Thursday? Did you send me something Thursday?
I don't recall.
I can't remember Thursday to save my life, but you guys did send me some stuff, and, I think Mike sent me one, and then I think you sent me one, and so. I did get those forwarded, so.
Thank you. So I would move that we do send the memo to Aaron Foley at Teamsters.
Motion been
I think I've decided he was gonna be the lead person.
Motion's been made to send said memo to Aaron Foley, all in favor, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to send email to Aaron Foley as presented, all in favor? Aye,
Aye,
opposed, same, motion carries.
thank you. I will get that off today.
So, just so I'm clear of my responsibility here, is that if there's something that you need for her to go there, whoever sends it to me, we just say this is to be, make sure you let me know it needs to be forwarded, and not just an informational, I just want to take a request, because, if I'm not, I can forward it from my phone, but sometimes when I'm looking at my phone, I don't read the title very well. So if you say, please forward, I'll take care of it. I don't want to miss something. So if you just let me know, that's the only thing I ask.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
just so it kind of eliminates any issues there.
All right. That's all I have.
Anything else, Franklin?
No,
I don't have anything. So,
Oh,
entertain
we
a-
do have one more item on the agenda. The budget,
Good.
just going through the budget. I did, just run some numbers. The general fund was 120,000 to the negative. I did double check some revenues. I have asked Debbie to kind of double check me. But it looks like we can balance the general fund without much effort.
Okay.
There's still some things we need to, jump over, but it doesn't scare me. I do think we should return the sheriff's budget to him because we do need to have a balance, if that's good with you guys.
Yeah,
All right, and I haven't heard anything about the district court or victim witness advocate budgets yet, but I think those went out last week.
okay.
All right, that's all I had, and then we do have an employee that wanted to talk to us. I'd be happy to go get him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, when, looking at the number of prisoners that you guys are housing right now, is that gonna continue until the end of next fiscal year, or do you have?
Right now, it's, one of the biggest things that we're facing, I think, across the state right now, is under this justice reform, what all the county attorneys are seeing, as far as I can tell from the conversations I've had with them, is that they're getting inundated with these petition revokes. Because under the justice reform, they had all these little caveats of sanctions or, a treatment program or whatever else. And so, basically, in order to do a petition revoke, they have to exhaust all means from point A to point Z before they can file a petition revoke. So what we're seeing now is this huge uptick of these petition revokes. Unfortunately, when there's petition revoke, that comes right back to the tax. It comes back to the local taxpayer. They're no longer, once you file a petition revoke, they're no longer under the control of probation, parole. They fall right back into the justice system at the local level. And so that's one of the things that's gonna hurt us, I think, is because we're seeing a lot of them. You know, DOC still, they're adamant, from my conversations with them, you know, the threshold was 250. They're adamant they want it below 200 because of any given time, it can fluctuate 50 over a weekend. So they're trying to keep their static numbers at that. But let's be honest, the people are, you know, zebra never changes its stripes. I mean, and that's what we're seeing, is that people are continuing to break the law. The people that we had on Facebook over a stolen car, sounds like both of them on probation, one actually just got out of prison. So it's, you know, this is where we're at. I mean, and so, I don't know. One of the things that's kind of saved us right now is Cascade County has, Cascade County is a 346 bed facility, and here when we were down at the Sheriff's Convention, they had 512 inmates in the facility. That's a problem. And so luckily for us, we had the room and they sent some down, and that's really benefited. But I think that being part of spending time there at the Justice Oversight Council, some of those legislators, Representative Lynch, Senator McConnell, Representative Patalis, they're all starting to recognize that there's some issues out there. I just don't know where it's gonna play. And I think that really, with this whole thing kind of coming into fruition back in October, I think that's where everything really came into effect, October 1st. No one's got any data really, no one says they have any data to really show us what's going on. So unfortunately, I can't speculate, and that's what's really hard. I know what Laura's saying about the revenue versus expenditures. Problem is I can't speculate what's gonna happen. Yeah, and I mean, Lewis and Clark County, they got a few of them down here, but they have 107, 108 people inside their jail right now. And so, I mean, we're way up here in local charges, and everybody's way low on paying inmates, whether it be DOC or what have you. It's just their sentencing recommendations, or their sentencing, when a person's released from either pre-release or from the Montana State Prison, there's seven or 8 questions that they do ask that determine whether or not the person's of a risk of reoffending. A lot of people are getting put at level 1, which is hardly any supervision for the most part. Saves DOC a lot of money, but the young men and gal that killed that family up there in Helena, they were a level 1, low risk offenders. So I just don't see it. I don't know what to think. Is the best way to put that. And I think Laura sees it at the Board of Crime Control all the time. It's, you know, we're potato. I mean, we had a ton of DOC, and then now we have a bunch of locals, and so I don't know. And it's not. It seems like every major crime we have right now has somebody who's a conditional release inmate, or on probation, or parole, or somewhere affiliated with a nexus of DOC. So, but like I said, as soon as they throw them in jail, petition revoked, they're no longer DOC. They're back on the local dollar, and which causes a problem. And then if the judge redefers their sentence but keeps them in for a treatment program or a pre-release, even though they're on a deferred sentence, it's the taxpayer's responsibility to pay the bill until they get to their location, whether it be pre-release or a treatment facility. So it's throwing a dart at a wall full of balloons and seeing which is going to hit. So I just don't know. So we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles trying to figure out what's going to happen. But the jails are very full of local charges right now. So if that helps, probably doesn't, but kind of where it is. So.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk with Seth. I know last week Bob Pallas, the sheriff out of Golden Valley, did call. And I don't know if he was inquiring about bed space for over there, but, you know, it's, the other swing on things is the judges are more apt to, a lot of this, what the hell they call it, something about pre-trial release or some, that thing is that they're trying to get this assessment done. And more counties are trying to do it to where they're assessing these people and putting them on conditions of which meets their threats or their risk factor, and kicking them out of jail on no bond. So that kind of, there are lots of moving parts there, so I just don't know, so.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions that I might be able to answer? Nothing? So, I will say this, I did put in for a grant, through a community organization for stop sticks. I think we talked about that before. It sounds like we're in the top 2, top 3. But hopefully that will reduce, if we can stop those pursuits before they get going too far, we can hopefully reduce some risk. The other thing is Dr. Kenny did come over with some grant information for getting AEDs. That's one of the other things, is try to get some grants to put the AEDs in the car. And we'll try. And then the other one is the Narcan for the officers. We're gonna get people trained up on it. Sergeant Buck's a trainer for the Narcan, so he's gonna give a class on it. And then at least we can start out by having the opportunity to, if the guys come across something that is going to incapacitate an officer, at least we have the ability to rectify that and hopefully save them. So that's our goal. So
Okay,
that's kind of where we're at with things, so.
okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
you betcha.
See ya.
Mr. Chairman, is this open portion closed?
Yes.